Hello everyone, this is Linda Moore bringing you coverage of the Baden Masters, the men's curling tournament from Baden, Switzerland, and it's day 2 of action. There are 20 teams in the Bonspiel, 4 pools of 5, and today we are featuring Mark Pfister and Michael Brunner. And I will now introduce former world curling coach and Swiss national coach, and my husband, Alan Moore, to the broadcast.
Hello everyone, great to be here. This is a big match for both these teams. They've both played 2 games. Brunner's team has won 1 and lost 1, and Pfister's team is looking for their first win. So it's a huge game for Team Pfister, who are representing the Philippines, by the way. Their efforts to get to a world championship. All players are of Filipino descent, so they're representing Philippines trying to get to the World Championships. They'll be in Lacombe, Alberta in a couple of months to try and qualify for that World Championship spot. But being Swiss citizens, these teams know each other very, very well. So they've probably played each other many, many times before. And there won't be anything new to each of them. Mark Pfister has been to the World Championship himself 2 or 3 times. Michael Brunner and Romano Meyer on Team Brunner have been to the Worlds in 2022 representing Switzerland at the Men's World Championship, so there's a lot of wealth of experience out here.
So getting us started in this first end, Michael Brunner has the hammer and playing the red stones. Mark Pfister tried to play a center guard with his first drop from Alan Fry, and that overcurled, so it's actually 2 corner guards are in play at the moment. That favors the Brunner team.
I see they have 1 substitution in the lineup for Team Pfister. They have Marcel Koper, I presume, throwing second stones in place of Rico Pfister, who is the normal second on his team. And as he's wearing his own team uniform there, I'm presuming he must be their 5th player. So the teams are taking no break in this first end. Brunner has hammered this end as a result of LSD thrown after the last game they played. His stone draw to the button was closer than Pfister's, so he gets hammered in this game. And Pfister is trying to force the action by forcing Brunner to 1. And Brunner will be taking advantage of those guards, trying to score more than 1 this end to establish control of the game.
Both the teams will be quite used to the ice now that we're into day 2, and the ice has been good. Lots of curl. You saw late finish on that. That actually pokes out into the hole between the 2 guards. But Mark is just calling for a draw.
So even though we're playing in pools of 4 teams, or 5 teams rather, 4 pools of 5 teams, it's the overall record that will count for the playoffs. So Pfister's best chance now is to try and get to 2 wins and 2 losses, and then hope that his last shot draw challenge will be one of the better ones to get him into the playoffs. A 3rd loss will certainly basically eliminate him from any further competition.
The training urgency is very different for the 2 teams. For Michael Brunner, he's hoping to have a good season, and he used to play for Schwaller, who is probably the favorite out of Switzerland right now in men's play. So they have a season to try and get things ready for the Swiss Championships. Mark Pfister, however, is looking at a championship, the Pan-Continental, in October, trying to get his team ready for that. So very different urgency and probably different goals for both of the teams.
Da ist schon gut. Aber lieber bis drauf.
The one thing for both teams that's really required at this level of play is precision draws, and the ones that slip a little deep, the Yellowstone that went to the back of the house, that's not going to be helpful. A little bit short, you can move it up very deep, and it's not useful. So that is one goal, I'm sure, for both teams, to try to get that draw weight, get the feel down as they move through this event.
Steht so? Okay.
Just have a note on the chat line telling me that Marcel is actually not the fifth player. That the fifth player is going to be the Philippines, Team Philippines Federation President Benjo Alamonte, and that Cello has been acting a little bit as team coach, or at least coach for Alan Fry.
Tony. Okay.
But he formerly played with Michael Brunner, so Michael knows him very well, and he'll fit right in with the team today.
Getting a little nervous in there, although the rocks are in a position where they still can be used as a backing for the Pfister team, but there are 3 red stones in there, so it's important to get one of these draws in a good spot.
Yep.
Christian Holler with the freeze attempt.
Yep. Linio.
Ja.
Linio, ja.
Nummer nog, ja.
Nog niet aanslag, nu bouncen. Goed kust.
Although they didn't get shot stone with that Yellowstone, it's in quite an advantageous place for them right now, and Mark Pfister knows that. He has to make a play up at some kind, even though he's sitting 3. The Yellows are in a pretty good position right now.
Ja. Was verdienen?
The Yellowstone is mostly buried, but the guard is long and there is good curl. It's really important to find the right weight for this to get curl past the guard if you're going to try and move the Yellowstone. So instead they're opting for the draw. It's getting very messy, and it's going to be interesting to see if this is the way these two teams want to approach the game, because this is really early to be putting this many rocks in play and asking so much from their team members. Very aggressive play.
Platz! Platz! Five! Okay, den Römer!
We bumped that Filipino stone in for shot stone. You may think that's a big mistake, but he's hoping later on to get an chance to perhaps raise his red one onto that Yellowstone at an angle to get a pile of red stones. And Team Philippines are going to try and make that as hard as possible. They're going to guard this up and force Brunner's team to make a double run back attempt.
It's just the first end, and every rock is in play. So as I said, it looks like Pfister's approach is going to be to throw everything at Brunner. Very high risk when you have the other team with the hammer and some stones in the house already.
I'd like to leave this as long as possible to make the run back as difficult as possible.
Ja. Der ist ein bisschen höher, ja. Zuerst der. Ab,
Hä?
2 Drittel ist gut. Halbe. Weg.
Brunner's going to try and open up the center by removing both of those yellow stones and also having his shooter roll away to give himself maybe more than one angle to get into that red stone of his at the top of the forefoot.
Go.
Nice shot by Tony.
So, oder?
So.
Das geht schon so. Mit dem Hand. Okay. Schnell.
Das ist gut. Ja.
So ist.
Das ist gut.
Das ist etwa.
Ja.
Ich komme, halb geht's noch. Oder?
Ja, halb geht's, ja.
Ich komme schnell.
Das ist einfacher als das. Ja.
Da,
Aber Hand bleibst du stehen.
da hier rollt der
Ja, ja, voll.
Das ist besser.
Ja. Finde ich gut.
Gut.
Ja, nein, ja,
Ich würde so eingehen.
So with the removal of those two guards, I don't think Mark wants to leave any more rocks around. He's going to play a hit, try to hit the yellow under the red, maybe get the shooter come over and kick the other red a little bit.
Nimm mir da die beiden roten. Hä? Ja.
Ja, das ist sehr wichtig. Ja, vorher wird das noch verschieden.
Also zuerst der Gelb. Gelb, dann so rot.
Tier! Wow, wow, wow! Tier! Oh! Sehr schön. Gut. Schon gut.
Exactly what he was looking for.
Ja, wir kommt nicht zurück da. Nein. Also vielleicht. Was macht er mit?
So viel schnell abgeschossen, dass das Mikrofon ist abgehört.
Genauso wie nicht, ist wieder weg. Oder so, ja. Weil Nase liegen wir nachher selber im Weg. Folgst einfach vorne. Ich glaube da.
That is the advantage of a skip having up weight. That was a pretty big weight and he easily removed the red stones. Has the overlap now on the two yellows in the top 8.
Please,
Ja, das ist da. Dass man da Dropkin so fliegt, wenn er wartet. Das da noch? Das geht schon, ja. Ich hätte das da. Wenn ich angel, machen wir da, aber ich habe es mit der nicht drauf, bevor liegt. Ja.
Michael's trying to hit this one, not on the nose necessarily, but maybe hit a little bit so his red shooter spills a little bit to the bottom side, which might give him two ways to get at the yellow stone, either an angle raise or straight on, depending on what Mark decides to do. So remove two yellows, roll a bit to the right side, or bottom as we're looking at it now. I think you'll see Mark Pfister make a play on those two back red stones to take them out of play. Try and stay right there. A little dangerous as you can't quite see the whole red stone. Other option would be to maybe draw one in there.
Aber wenn er hier liegt. Ja.
Aber ja. Das ist ein heißer Scheiß.
Hier drauf. Du musst es einfach so wischen, wenn ich darf nicht hier bleiben stehen, müsst ihr ein bisschen aufschlagen, oder?
Ja, voll. Was ist, wenn man da hat? Auch wenn man viel fährt, das ist nicht das Ende der Welt, oder?
Nein. Nee.
In the first end, it's a little tricky. They'd love to draw in there, but if you happen to set it up in the wrong place, for example, just sit near the other Yellowstone, you might leave a double.
Aber ja, da ist nicht gut. Was denkst du denn? Ja, ist er da oder? Okay, er spielt nichts, wie die
The advantage both of these teams have is the fact that the Baden ice has been in for about a month, maybe a little bit more, and it's one of the only two places in Switzerland where teams can get some summer training, and they may have been out on this ice in July practicing, trying to get their technical games squared away and have a pretty good feel for what this ice is like.
Der Freeze ist eben, bringt einfach das Risiko, wenn wir ein bisschen zu hoch sind, dass wir einfach stoppen. Ja. Das ist dann einfach wie der Corner Run. Wenn wir einfach Guard spielen, wo der Run weg klar. Ja, wenn dann hätte ich ja, aber
We're talking about the guard, which is the easier shot versus trying to come in for some sort of freeze without setting up that double I was talking
Center
about.
Guard spielen, Chris.
So they're going for the easier shot of the center guard. But it has to be in the right
Komm, wir spielen
spot.
den Freeze, weil wenn es kurz ist und vor einem Corner Freeze im Brot ist, ist er auch noch gut. Weißt du? Ist gut, wir spielen den Freeze. Ja.
And he's gone back to the original call.
Yeah.
Split, also Split, ja, ist beide Seiten.
So after that discussion, you have to go back to locking it in.
T-Line-Länge.
Quite often the person that's calling the game and goes down to throw is still thinking a little bit about that strategy. So now he has to go back to thinking of just draw weight to the target. Don't forget with this first one, he threw up weight, so he has to really dial it back now.
Achtung! Zieh!
I don't think you could have played that much better. And it's actually now going to be hard for Team Brunner to score. There is a raised straight back double. Probably lose one of his red ones in the process, but he could get two this way. Maybe three.
Ja, das ist Mühe mehr, als ich noch gerne möchte, aber nicht der Seite von der Nase nicht.
It's almost a nose hit. Drive the red one back onto the yellow, which will tick the other yellow one sideways. I'm trying to score a big end here. I think 4 is possible, but if he makes it, I think 3 is more likely. Either one of those two scores would really give an advantage in the game.
Yep. Aye!
And that was the risk of all those rocks in play. That's a 4. With the team with the hammer taking advantage of a little mistake on rock placement. And a big 4 in the first end for Michael Brunner.
Teams these days all practice that run back and big weight hits, and so it's not something that they're not familiar with, and they actually look for that when they have hammers, have a lot of rocks in the house, and then hopefully throw something high hard one on the last one to remove opponent's stones, and that's exactly what happened there.
So the Brunner team will probably put this in. Andreas Gerlach rushing on the left, Romano Keller-Meyer, Tony Bateau, and Michael Brunner form the team, and what a great edge to have the 4 in the first end.
So now you'll see Team Brunner trying to bring all the play into the house. I think they wanted that one in, but it's come up a little short. And it's certainly a rock that Team Pfister Philippines can use later on.
So the team member we don't know as well as far as experience go is the lead for Mark Pfister, Alan Fry, and I'm wondering if part of the strategy that Mark Pfister employs with a lot of aggressive play, a lot of guards and come-arounds is sort of based on the fact that the lead is less experienced and he's just going to go with it, because that last end, that was a lot of risk taken on by the Pfister team.
Okay, Alan.
That guard probably curled a little too far. It's not going to be guarding much of the rings.
Good. Is gut. 8-4. Okay. Platz. Tief. Schön auf die, Karp. Linie kommt gut. Kannst du nicht abwechseln. 16 Uhr. Yep, keep going, keep going, keep going. Go. Nice. So.
That's a very nice come around. You can see all the rotation, and the ice and the stones demand that you put a lot of rotation on it, and it does not detract from the curl. The brushing was encouraging the curl, but still it got there behind cover quite easily.
Hey, ist gut. Linie ist gut. Durchlänge. Komm.
Mark's going to try and use 2 corner guards. I like to get them a little closer to the house than that, because even if you bury a rock behind that, you can take it out on the nose with hack weight or even board weight, because it's so high.
I'm going to repeat what I said yesterday when I was covering a game in which was a bit lopsided. One big danger when you get behind early is that you become very risky in your approach and you don't have a chance to score. So although the corner guards might be used, you have to be really watching what's left in the center and make sure you're not trapped and can't score at all.
It's 80. It's 80. Ja.
So that's a split time, 8 seconds hog to hog for this hit.
Yep. Yep. Nog lief. Oh, is goed. Okay.
Maybe underthrew that one a little bit. The brusher yelled out speed of 9 out of his hand. So that's a little bit slower, and it will curl a little bit more.
They're hoping to save the shooter, and it rolls away. So a simple end here for Brunner. He's got a couple in there, and he's just going to keep putting something in front of them.
Ten curl. Whyte. Oh. Nice.
Ja, ik had denk hij zal zien niet kunnen.
7. Ist gut. 8. Ja, aber ist gut.
Asking for a little more speed on this one.
Oh, Oh! Oh! Oh!
It's a little bit frustrating with the corner guard play when you're trying to score and yet you're trying to also open things up. The two sort of are in conflict with each other. He's not getting anything set up. He's just having to run back to front. So it's always challenging when you're trying to set up your juice as to how to approach it when the other team gets a nice one in behind cover.
He does have two good corner guards set up on the left side of center. As we look at it from the back of the house. The question now is he going to get the opportunity to use them?
Hard, Andy! Hard! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Nice. Good.
I think I understand Michael Brunner's Swiss German very well. But keep going.
Backline!
There is a mixture of English and Swiss German for sure. So they think they can see enough of those rocks in the house to tap them back. Backline isn't going to move a lot of granite though. Christian Holler will make the attempt.
Tia! Allen! Tia, Allen! Whoa! Cello!
This one's gone.
This one's very light. They're looking for a 11, which is about half weight.
You have to wonder if that picked though. That went sideways.
That's possible. Possible a little debris or caught a handprint or a footprint on the ice.
Ja, dat is zo wiek dan.
Ja.
Ja,
Ganz
gut,
schnell.
das ist jetzt,
Ja.
ja,
Gut, okay.
vor der Garde auf der linken Seite durch.
So, hè? Yep. Goed ook. Ja.
It is interesting to see people want to chase the Olympic dream. It's not an easy task. As we mentioned, the Pfister team has to go through the Pan-Continental to try and even qualify into the A pool of the Pan-Continental to then try and qualify for the Worlds and the Olympics. So it's a long road. And good for Alan for setting that goal, but it's not going to be easy for them.
They lost the final to get into the A pool last year to China, who, as a result of that win by China, China will move up to the A pool and they won't be in the Pan-Continental B pool this year. So Philippines are liking their chances of trying to win that A pool this year.
I don't know what's going on
Another
in that
one.
spot, but there's another one.
Another one that's
And that is officially a mess for the Pfister team.
yeah, that was both of those were about 10 meters short of the desired speed. And the hole is getting deeper and deeper.
The guard is there for a run back, but it's a long run back, and this one will be played probably in behind the yellow guard, and there won't be much left.
It's looking like Mark's going to have to make a couple of fabulous shots just to score one.
Early. In you go. In you go. In you go.
Brushers seem to like the speed. They're just keeping this rock clean.
In you go. In you go. Pista. Pista. Yep, Linie, yep, Linie. Yep, yep, yep.
Right.
Aber schon nach runtergehst, deutlich, ja.
Well, you can't see the button, so something has to go here.
Yeah. He's not going to be able to score if he leaves it the way it is. He's going to have to move some ground around. Give himself a chance to get in there on his last one.
Ich muss einfach im Schluss noch etwas machen können. Und es sieht nicht so danach aus.
As far as the line goes, the best way to make contact and move the ground is the run back, but it's a long way out there, and if you don't make it, you're in deep trouble.
So verrutscht ich höchstwahrscheinlich noch mehr rein, gell?
I don't know if you can actually freeze to the back one because the that wide guard might be in the way of the path.
Diese hier Bockstelle bleiben stehen. Aber er liegt immer noch mit zwei, aber dann könnte ich vielleicht wieder zu. So komme ich nie mehr zu. Dann müssen wir von dieser Seite kommen. Wahrscheinlich müssen wir den spielen. Aber dass die schlechter sind, oder? Nicht nur da hinten haben. Auch mit Hecklänge oder so. Ja. So, hä?
He's trying to get a rock in a position by tapping things back where his Yellowstone is difficult to remove. So leaving some rocks behind in the back of the 4-foot or 8-foot. I think it's a wise choice rather than playing the run back. The run back is too difficult. But he has to get these perfectly positioned to make it hard for Michael Brunner not to get at it.
Nur hinter den Tappen liegt immer noch mit 4, gell? Ja, 4 an den Trick, das ist eine Scheiße, bringt nicht. Ja, bringt nicht. Hecklänge, so Heckwortlänge. Ah, das ist so gleich fein, oder? Ja, ja.
Das sind andere.
Und ich habe, das ist eigentlich 70.
Was willst du? Ja, zum Sehen, es ist halt, ja. Yes, ich weiß. Ja, heißt du den ja ja.
Heckbord!
Ringi!
Ja!
Oh, oh!
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 Ja!
Tier! Ja! Tier! Weiter! Noch ein bisschen! Tier! Ja!
That overcurled, that's unfortunate. Opened up the button a little bit, but unfortunately the opponent still has a chance to block that up.
Wenn momentan hat der da, wo einfach ist, und das da. Also vor allem das der Scheiße. Das Gefühl, das bringt nicht, wenn man nicht...
Wenn liegst du damit gut.
Ja, aber ich habe das Gefühl, weißt du, wenn man der erste Spiel ist der Beste, dann machen wir beide, dann muss er das spielen.
Ja,
Gehört zu mir.
absolut.
Aber so...
Das hat sich gerade ein bisschen vorne, gell?
Das Mühlbounce, wir müssen den Vierer nicht mehr so viel überbewegen,
Ja.
dass er da nicht mehr reinkommt.
Wie länger?
Ich hätte es gesagt, ja.
But right now for Pfister, there are two ways in. The outturn and the in-turn have possibilities, so Michael Brunner is going to guard the side with the easier shot, which is the draw to the button. Neither side is easy, but this one would be a little bit simpler, not a port to navigate.
Michael can come down and tap his own rock at an angle a couple of inches, one at the top of the 4-foot. He might be able to close everything right off.
Linie gut! Dann jetzt! Andi! Achtung! Okay! Dann jetzt, Brunner! Jetzt! Whoa.
Like that.
They had looked earlier in the Brunner team to see if this in-off is possible for Pfister. I think they decided it was the hardest shot he would have to play, so they have left it for him.
This guy hit about a half of that stone at the top of the, in the side of the 8-foot, and ricochet into the ones into the button area.
Michael Brunner's sitting 5, already ahead by 4. So just think of the pressure on Mark Pfister to play this shot.
Gut. Kommen wir 7, hä?
He's even playing the,
7.
he's going to be playing the in-turn. I don't know why he wouldn't be playing the out-turn. The in-turn gives a little higher angle coming in, whereas the out-turn would have a greater ricochet effect. That
He's playing
guard might be a little bit.
It's just, I mean, the main thing is to get the right angle, whichever turn, whichever weight you want. It's not going to be easy to get the perfect angle, and he's playing more weight.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Whoa! Oise, Cello, oise, alles.
Oh, very nicely done. What a shot.
Perfectly executed. There'll be a big sigh of relief on that one.
Thank you, Skipper. So, it's only a single point, but wow, when you look at those 5 red stones, to get the perfect angle to roll to the button, it is 1 for yellow.
That's not the way you want to be trying to score points every end, but it certainly keeps the team in the game.
Das ist 4-1 oder 4.
I think we've seen a tendency for Alan Fry, the lead for Mark Pfister, to be a little bit inside. I think he rolls his turns a little bit, so Mark's giving more ice than he might for another player, which is a great thing. You don't just read the ice, you have to read the deliveries of your players and try and make each of them the best they can be.
Eis ist gut, ja. Oh.
Everybody out working this one, trying to get over the hog line.
Now that was untested ice. It needed to have a little more weight than it would down the middle.
I think Michael forgot there for a second that they had last rock. He's calling center guard. The team quickly steered him in the right direction.
Up 3 with the hammer. Such a nice position for the Brunner team. Just drawing one in.
Kom out. 2 bis 3.
Mark, of course, being behind by 3 is going to ignore that one and try and get up at center guard.
Curling is all about adjustments, so you have to adjust to the first one being a little short and add some weight to this one.
Okay. Ist gut, ist gut. Gehört nicht dafür. Gut, Alan.
Very nicely played.
Har nyt.
8.
Gut.
Gut.
Kerl genug.
4.
5. Weit hinterher sonst.
Nein, nein, nein.
Kommt da besser. Er kommt bis da rüber. Muss sogar nicht mehr Kerl. Wir sind schon halb offen. Gut so.
See the amount of curl in the ice. That one went round on the left side of the stone and is totally open on the opposite side.
So kannst du schon bis dran. Aber ein 3 wäre besser.
It's interesting when you're ahead. When you're ahead and have the hammer, because most people would say, well, that red stone's not behind the yellow stone, it's not a good shot. But in truth, the red stone is more usable for Brunner. The fact that it's open on the outside, the fact that he has a 3-point lead in the hammer, he doesn't want to give 2 guards to Mark Pfister by burying completely. So that's not a bad stone at all.
Vor 12. Bis hier. Kommt fast bis dran, hä? Ja, kannst du bis dran jetzt. Ja. Gut, schön.
I think you'll see that guard disappear about now.
Speed 3. Yep.
Gotta go.
That's not what they were looking for.
No, Romano won't be pleased at all. You have to really keep your focus up. It feels a little easy when you get a big end to start the game, but you really have to focus on release on those peels.
Die Line.
Die Line ist gut. Linie ist gut. Linie ist gut. Zieh ein bisschen. Zieh.
Just to give you an update on the other sheets, after 2 ends, Retornaz from Italy is leading Kapp, Germany 2-1, scoring a deuce in the second end. Høstmælingen is playing the Canadian team on sheet 3, and right now Høstmælingen has got one in the first and stolen one in the second, and leads that one 2-0. And on rink 4, Bryce from Scotland blanked the first end, but then Edin stole one in the second end, so Edin leads that game 1-0 after 2 ends.
Close. Andy. Hike.
Ja, hier so rauswicken.
Okay.
10.
Wie lang?
10.
Michael Brunner with the hammer here in the third end. Mark Pfister looking like he's okay to force the issue, that is, try and force the opponent to get one and get the hammer back. He's playing the hit on this.
Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa! Spin it dig. Whoa! Okay. Spin it dig.
Fortunately rolled out.
Yep.
Gut.
Der macht ein bisschen. Weißt du das so? Gut so.
Ja, meine Scheck. Ja. Und dann denke ich doch,
One of the things you have to decide when you're behind is how much weight to play. That was quite a bit of weight for that hit. You didn't really need to even remove it with a ton of weight just to get a little bit of a roll. So unfortunately for the Pfister team now, this guard is going away.
They still have the nice staggered stones at the top of the 8 foot there. Mark's going to bide his time as to when he wants to try and get in behind those. So in the meantime, he's going to throw a couple of guards up there and force Brunner to waste a couple shots peeling them off, and then he'll probably make a move to get behind them on his first rock.
Linie ist ein bisschen eng. Linie ist eng. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Christian Haller with the guard.
Okay.
Michael Brunner's going to try and get there first and not allow Mark Pfister to get around those staggered guards, so he's going to get around them first. This is certainly the more aggressive shot of the. He could walk up and peel the guard off, which would be the more conservative play, but he's going to be a little more aggressive and try and get in there first.
It's important this one is in front of the tee line.
Over. Einfach hinten nach.
A long way off the intended line, and a little bit heavy too. So even though it's sitting second shot, they won't really be too happy with that.
If you were scoring that as a coach, you might get a better score in a game from an official, but as a coach, that is not a good stone. That only provides backing for the opponent, potentially, on a hit attempt, and it certainly will not be in a position where it can be used by your own team.
And plus he gave Mark a little bit of a read on what the ice is doing in that spot.
Also Platz!
Schluss! Ja, ja!
This one looks to be on a little bit better line.
Ja, Linie!
Sehr gut, noch klein! Weiter!
Ja!
Weiter! Noch klein,
Finger!
noch klein, noch klein! Ganz geil gefischt, gut.
Really well managed. That rock is completely out of sight and biting the edge of the button.
You have to give Mark so much credit. The last stone of the last stand, he had to throw up weight, play a big in off, and then this end, he comes back with perfect draw weight. Very nice.
Yeah, and about 14 or 15 minutes of time between those two shots. It's not like one was right after the other. So, great feel and concentration by Mark.
Let's see if Michael can play the same kind of draw.
Linie gut. Linie gut.
Linie Platz.
Linie kommt gut. Bis Freeze. Linie kommt perfekt. Bis Freeze. Bis da. Jep, Linie. Jep. Jep.
Dann ein bisschen ankommen, ein bisschen ankommen.
It's going to come up a little light.
Okay.
I think you'll see Mark trying to either guard that one or get another one behind it. There is an in-off for Brunner, similar to the one that we saw Mark Pfister make last end.
This is where you have to go back to what your goal is. If you were trying to steal, it would be a very different approach. If you're trying to force, you could put something in the back of the 8-foot where it could not be doubled off with that in-off, that sort of thing, and just make it so that it would be a second shot and make it hard for more than one to be scored.
I think the fact that he's down by 3 points, I think he's going to try and set another one in there.
I'd definitely be drawing in. I would not be guarding. Oh, he's playing the guard, though.
If playing center guard, he's going to leave Brunner the in-off for 4. Now I would like to see him try and come around that top red run and maybe get to the side of the button. It's going to force Brunner into playing the in-off, and if it's made, the game's basically over.
Super, ja, ja, ja. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I think Mike will take a run at this. Rather than draw for 1, I think he'll take a run at this, and the game's over. If he makes this, the game is, for all intents and purposes, finished.
And we're not saying this is an easy shot. These in-offs are very challenging, especially where you see the curl. So they try to throw enough weight to remove curl from the equation, but you never know. If it moves a little bit, the line goes off.
Yeah, he needs about a half a stone on the red one on the inside. The shooter will ricochet over and take the one Filipino stone off the button.
Yep, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yep, yep. High, high, high.
Not able to do it, just over curled.
I think the amount of curl surprised him because they yelled whoa out of his hand, so they thought they had the right line. And the amount of curl in the last half of that stone surprised him, I think, a little bit.
So a deep breath for the Pfister team with the steal of 1.
Dat is wirklich gleich, das ist die Bremse schon.
One of the hard parts of ice reading is when you have ice that curls a lot. For example, we saw the outside in draws, the draws to the button on that side of the sheet really curl. So sometimes in your mind you're thinking the other turn will go a little bit straighter, especially with that up weight, but that one definitely seemed to move at the end.
The way stones and ice are managed these days, and ice is groomed and stone edges are managed, I think on slow shots like draws, there seems to be curl every part of the ice. And then what the players try and do with their rotation and speed is manage that amount of curl.
I'm really not sure what happened to that one.
16-8, also der ist sicher komisch.
Ja. 3. Hier.
The first Yellowstone, the call was, you can hear them say the Swiss German word for 3, that's the guard tight to the rings. It dropped short and was not on center line.
Centerline ist gut, aber hier ist noch gut.
Just listen to them. Listen to Brunner saying that he wanted it in behind and it overcurled and stopped, so I really don't know what happened to the redstone.
Noch nicht knapp. Okay, Keikli. Linie ist gut.
Right.
Gerade, ja, gerade.
Nein.
Gut, Al.
Ja, ist gut.
Ja.
Good start to the end for Pfister with the 2 guards, just a little bit off center.
Acht! Ein Platz! Ich kann auch gehen. 8!
Wenn dann Tony, halbe 4.
4!
Halbe 4. Wenn dann Tony. Linie kommt gut, schön bis da.
They're talking about it being in the 4-foot.
Linie kommt super, halbe 4.
Vor 8.
Das ist noch in der Spur.
Ja, danke.
Maybe the only one just went out of the path and then also slowed down the front. That's really extreme, the other one.
So Marcel being asked for a draw, top 8.
Linie ist gut, warte noch ein bisschen.
Vorne 4!
Warte noch ein bisschen.
Vorne 4!
Vor 4.
Ja, ist gut.
Verbinden.
Die!
Once again, they're having trouble getting those stones to stop at the top of the house where they're usable. That one comes to the back 12.
All right.
Provide a little update on the scores of the games on the other sheets. On sheet 1, Kapp has come back with a 3 to take a 4-2 lead on Retornaz of Italy. On sheet 3, Chandler of Canada came back with a 2 to tie that game up at 2-all against Høstmælingen of Switzerland. And on sheet 4, Edin has stolen 2 more on Bryce of Scotland to take a 3-0 lead.
8, sind dran. Carp. Smoothie, perfekt. Okay.
Gleich Länge oder einen halben Meter mehr? Gut.
Halve meter mee. Is goed.
Now, if you're looking at that, you may wonder why a takeout is not being played, because you could move the 2 red ones, but you have to remember that the red team, Brunner, has the hammer, so Mark Pfister is trying a slow setup procedure where he's just trying to move rocks around and get things in a position where he might have a chance to steal, but definitely force the situation at worst.
Gut. Gut so.
Sturen voor Totzek. Hek. Ga je verder. Oké. Goed.
The Yellowstone is open, but there is a little bit of difficulty that you can't hit it straight back without hitting around. So if they do happen to roll too much, there will be a chance for Pfister to get in there again.
Yes. 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 Hard straight.
quite a build-up of reds happening now, but there is one behind the button that Team Pfister will be trying to freeze on. Pfister would love his steal, but he has to also be sure that he doesn't give up more than one. Michael's going to try, Brunner's going to just try and pick this one out of there. He wouldn't mind if he just clicks that one behind the button and takes it out too, which would leave his 2 stones at the top of the 8-foot. His shot stones in a really good position above the tee line behind the guards.
If you watch the throw for Tony, he has a very low delivery, and sometimes it looks like he's overreaching with that arm as he's putting on the turn and going a little bit inside, and it doesn't take a lot. He didn't have much space to make that play. And so he hits the guard.
Okay.
Also halb versteckt hier.
Ja.
Ah.
Ja. Hier nog, oder was?
So that's another break for the Pfister team. Christian will try and put another one in a good spot.
Line. Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa.
This one's over curling a little bit. We'll try this one more time. They can see much less of it this time, but they can see enough of it to pick it out of there. Might want to consider trying a little less weight. No, on the guard again. He does get that stone, if you watch that one closely, he does get that stone pointed a little bit toward the target as opposed to out toward the broom. Most of the teams now are trying to play the stone slightly to the inside-outside motion, which will keep their takeouts much straighter and delay the curl on draws for a while. Especially on this ice, it's very, very swingy. If you, on ice that swing like that, if you get it started toward the target even a little bit, it will tend to start that way very, very quickly. And it's almost impossible for the brushers to hold it straight.
Yeah, so it comes back to all that training, and my opinion, I think he needs to keep the shoulders a little higher to be able to make that set with the release. So that's what I would suggest as he's moving forward, to just bring those shoulders up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe the coach is listening.
So one more chance for Mark Pfister to get a rock in a good spot. Two options, you can just play a guard, or you can play right in.
This one's very, very high.
Gut, gut, gut.
It's long, but I think it does the trick.
So kurz gespielt.
Not sure they can get around there enough with enough speed to move the yellow stone out of the way.
It's long, but it didn't overcurl. That's the benefit. It was far enough over that it would be hard to get by. It does allow a double peel.
Ein bisschen mehr, ja. Ein bisschen mehr noch. Ja.
So Brunner's going to try and remove both these guards, which will make the second guard by Pfister a little more exacting.
Bin ich besser gewesen? Ja.
Wow, wow, wow.
Das ist jetzt Schluss. Ja, ja.
Andi, Andi! Hi.
Wow,
Whoops.
that's a miss.
Big mistake there. He's left the guard almost in a perfect position. I think Mark Pfister can get around there and sit two. I think it can come down, tap the yellow one just ever so slightly, maybe 10 centimeters or so, and sit two.
Ja, vor allem bin ich ein bisschen schräg. Und dann schlage ich hier an und dann sind wir unten.
Und ich finde, die liegen recht gut so.
So,
Ja.
gut.
Gib ein bisschen mehr.
Ein bisschen mehr, ja.
Das war vorher gewesen.
Ist mir noch ein bisschen mehr.
He's worried about perhaps coming in and setting up a double if he rubbed off the red stone, so he's just going to throw another guard.
You have to think at this stage that the momentum is now on the Pfister team, although the score is currently in the favor of the Brunner team. Mark's made a couple of really big shots. Got the steal last end, and now is setting up another steal this end.
We've basically seen 3 misses in a row by Team Brunner, hitting the guard twice when they're trying to hit a stone in the house, and then Michael virtually completely missing the last double peel.
Super.
Linie ist gut.
Super.
Zieh ein bisschen, Cello.
Ja.
Linie ist gut.
Oh, oh.
They just want this to drop, that's why they're not brushing it anymore.
Sehr schön.
I think he could. There's enough room there to draw the button.
Ja, almost now.
Or they can try some kind of run back for a multiple score. And they're going to try the yellow one in.
Ist nicht ganz einfach gewesen, aber.
This is a little bit dangerous because if he hits it in the wrong place, he could perhaps leave Team Pfister sitting too. A great result would be to take out the yellow and the red behind it and get the 2 at the top of the 8-foot count. Would be a fabulous result.
Last stone here in the 4th end. Brunner leading by 2, but in danger of giving up one more steal.
Well, that's another steal of 1. This is kind of like Jaws. Dun 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 dun. You hear Team Pfister creeping up behind you.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely is momentum Pfister. Just shows you how important every rock of the end is, because in this last end that we just watched, the Pfister team played a center guard, but it wasn't in the perfect spot. And then the Brunner team missed the come around, leaving another guard, and that started the process of getting all those rocks around the center line. Every stone has to be played pretty well, perfectly, in order to set up an end.
Also was meinst du, würdest du hier jetzt sogar? Nein, nein, das würde ich nicht, aber nicht mehr so. Ich würde nicht voll aggressiv.
That might change the tactics for Team Pfister a little bit. They were basically in steal mode the last two ends. They might switch to a force mode here, figuring that they could give Brunner one here, take two in the sixth end, give him one in the seventh, and take two in the eighth. So we'll see whether they continue to keep their foot on the gas with the steal mode or whether they switch a little bit more to a force mode.
And I guess you could say the same for Brunner. Will he continue to draw around the center guards, or will he try and play open and see if he can bait Pfister into playing a more open end?
Linie ist gut. 3, 3, 2 ist gut. Linie ist gut. Anfangs 3. Nur Länge. Ja. Wo, Chris, wo?
And both the skip and the lead have made a nice adjustment, taking enough ice to make sure that guard stays on the center line, and Alan has found that draw weight. Sticking with the plan of the come round with Andreas.
Ganz acht, Gerlich genug. Ist aber gut. Linie ist gut. Halb 4. Gut, denke ich. Halb 4. 14,5. Willst du jetzt ein bisschen? Ja.
Bis 8 Fuß.
About in the 8 foot is what he's asking for. It looks very familiar, doesn't it? We saw the same sort of play in the third end.
Linie spitzli eng. Vor 12, nimm mal Chris.
A little bit narrow, he said.
Wo. Linie ist gut. Länge ist sehr gut. Ja, ruck noch Linie. Ja, kannst. Länge ist gut. Wo. Sehr schön, alle. Perfekt.
Sehr schön. Sehr schön.
Two great shots from the lead.
Perfect.
Früh töpfen. Aber zu früh spielen, am Schluss noch ein bisschen runtertöpfen. Ja.
Vorne 4.
Gut.
8.
So, jetzt. Jetzt.
He's trying to get by and move those rocks around in the house. Doesn't want to touch that guard.
Going to take it off the center line. He hasn't. You're allowed to move rocks that are on the center line. You're just not allowed to move them off the center line. Otherwise, everything would come back. So even though he touched that stone, he's left it still biting the center line.
That was the fortunate part of just playing draw weight. A little more weight, it definitely would have been pushed off.
Warte noch, Chris. Kannst noch warten. Warte. Linie ist gut. Nur mal Länge. Achtung, ja. Ja, musst. Oh. Done.
Team Pfister getting right into this game now, making all their shots.
It is amazing how confidence changes with the not just the scoring, but the big shots by Mark Pfister to get them back in this game.
Yeah, they can see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and it's not a train.
Yep.
On the flip side, if you're Brunner, you're trying to keep things more simple now, open it up.
Nice shot.
That's it.
Stanny!
When you're Team Brunner, you sort of have to turn around every once in a while and look at that scoreboard because you're still ahead. I mean, they only scored one end, the four in the first end, but you are still ahead, so you can't let this bother you.
Yeah.
You just have to keep focusing on your shots.
And normally when we are ahead with last stone, we say you have control of the game. So control is still definitely in the hands of Team Brunner.
So no need to panic, just playing the hit and roll. You can get a roll in behind your own guard.
Tursday! Close! Tursday! Close! Whoa! Close! Whoa! Yep! Yep! Whoa! 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 No! 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 No!
Well played.
Gut. Ist etwa 3/4 innen. Ein 8 längt. 8 längt. Oder auch 9, wenn du willst.
8 or 9 is the hog-to-hog time. And this is a big change. Normally, in the beginning part of this game, of course, because he got behind early, Mark Pfister would draw behind that yellow guard. So playing the double off of this guard is very different.
Uh-oh. Ah, ist gut. Sieht doch.
Got very fortunate. A little piece of the second red one, and look at the spin. It'll carry the other one out.
And Michael's going to ignore those two biters at the back and go around the corner guard in his own, trying to get a deuce to reestablish a dominant control in this game.
Any more shout? Any more shout? Come on! Hard, so good!
It's a little late. It was a bit of a new path, and they maybe weren't sure that pebble might be a little fresher out there still. They've been playing most of this game outside in, not so much inside out.
That's right, and the point we were making earlier about Tony and not trying to pick on one person, but if you happen to be throwing a little inside, especially if the release is a little outside to inside at all, then the break point is early and you are in a very different path and you do get more curls. So it's not a lot, it's not a huge problem, but it's maybe just enough to cause that kind of problem.
Wie lang ist er?
Ja!
And everybody's having trouble now.
Setze dich mal was zu setzen. Das ist gleich. Okay, also 2 Meter mehr. 2 Meter mehr lang. Minimum. Also so. Das will ich nicht. Gut.
I don't mind playing through this hole. The benefit is if you don't completely bury in, they do get a roll back more into the open. You have a rock in front that's yours that you can use to move back, to run back. I also like the fact that he's playing the out turn because it seems like it's his in turn that's maybe causing a few problems.
And he kept it in front of the tee line, which was crucial as well. About a third of that rock is exposed on the in-turn side. So Mark's going to have try a soft takeout, maybe hack weight, try and hit what he can see and roll in behind the corner yellow guard.
Westen geht er da hinten dran hier. Gib noch ein bisschen mehr, Chris.
That was my point from the last one from Michael Brunner. I might have taken a little more ice to make sure that if I did leave a little piece of the red one showing, it was actually on the other side of the yellow guard. Because then you'd be rolling, if you were the opponent, you'd be rolling potentially behind a red guard. So just a little thing for skips to keep in mind when you're talking about how much ice to give.
Ich muss eigentlich weit Lücken treffen, mit dem richtigen Tempo, der passt, oder? Also, ich komme mal 60, perfekt.
There is big curl on this side.
That was maybe a little light. I think they're trying to play hack weight, and I don't think he quite had that. He might head back line. And so the stone started to curl a lot earlier than they anticipated.
That is the benefit of throwing a set, that inside out kind of throw, that it delays that curl. That might have helped it as well.
Das Schlechteste wäre, dass wir eine halbe Zeit üben, dann gehen wir gerade hinten nach.
Bin ich eigentlich?
Ja, er wird noch ein
Ja, ja, es gibt selber auch gesagt.
Das würde vielleicht jeder sehr gerne machen. Ja, aber vielleicht sind die weil er hat genau das gleiche Ding und wir legen einfach das an.
I just suggest that maybe they come down and include Tony, or Tony go out and include it in the conversation here. This is a pretty important call, trying to figure out where to put a rock where you won't leave a better chance for Pfister to get out of trouble.
Ja, ja. Ich glaube, es hat schon gepasst, die müssen einfach ein bisschen geben. Und ja, wenn er halt einfach schon
I'll be trying to get this behind the Reds corner guard in front of the tee line.
Linie gut. Yep, line. Yep, Linie. Linie gut. Linie gut. Platz, 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 Platz. Eher Platz. Was sind wir? Okay. Pfister, no da, no da.
Very nice. Just where they wanted it. It does leave room for Team Pfister to hit that rock and roll over in behind the redstone a little bit. Make it very difficult to get out. I don't know if he can roll to this, hit the side of it or not. He could roll either way. I think if I was him, I'd rather roll behind my 2 yellow stones.
Ja, schwierig.
Die andere ist nicht besser.
Nein, ich bin nicht besser, nein.
So, das 10. Sonst musst du halt nur früh umstellen auf 4 zwingen.
Ja, ja. Das ist gerade, oder?
Das ist ja genau das, was man links und rechts bewegt. Nein, wir gehen auf den, oder?
Ja.
So, das 10.
Ja.
Probieren links rüber zu zwicken. 10, ja.
Playing a medium weight takeout at 10, hog to hog, and trying to roll behind the yellow guards.
Gut, jetzt zu dem auf den aber gute Draw.
Ik ga nog steeds de stuiper aan. Zo, dat is ook even. Ik denk
Ja, dit war jetzt nicht.
Ja!
Zie je!
Ja!
Zie je! Zie je! Nog niet! Nog niet!
He was quite
This
narrow on
was-
this. Look at this. What a miss. Wow, after all those big shots he made.
Don't think he quite got out of the broom on that one. Slid a little bit narrow perhaps,
Sorry, Chris.
or else he helped it with his hand a little bit. So with that one shot, all that hard work they did is gone.
Yeah, he missed hit the guard and then missed a hit. I think sometimes when you're playing all those precise shots, for example, the in-off that Mark made earlier, your focus is so clear, you only have one chance and you know exactly where to hit the stone, and then this rock is wide open, and sometimes you let that focus lapse and then bad things happen.
Linie gut! Linie gut! Geld noch
So
viel!
it's a pretty nice open house and a draw for
Jumping.
3 for Michael Brunner.
14-3.
And no mistake.
Probier nochmal mit so
wenig
einer...
Chancen gehabt, von Anfang an schon.
Ja, schade eigentlich. Sorry.
I guess if you go back in that end, I did mention that they played some hits where earlier in the game when they were trying to catch up, they were playing those come-arounds, and sometimes maybe you're better to stick with the strategy that got you in that comeback and play the come-around around the center guard and not play the hit. It's always a decision to make at the time, whether to stick with the plays you've been making or to change. But now it's a big lead for Michael Brunner, 7-3 after 5.
And we'll give you an update on the other scores as soon as they've finished their 5th end.
Andreas looked behind him like he wondered if it picked something up, and this is that same stone he's had trouble with earlier. Weight isn't bad, but it is curling a lot.
Yeah, stone could have a rough edge on it, or there's some debris on the ice, or maybe there's a handprint out there, or a knee print. I noticed that Chris Holler tends to sit down on the ice after some of his shots, and he may have melted the pebble right off his spot there and created a dead spot.
Players have gotten much better about that, understanding the impact of the heat of the body or the shoe has on the ice. But it does happen sometimes. So I'm pretty sure that first one was supposed to be in. It ends up as a almost center guard and a nice corner guard there by Allen.
Yeah, an option here for Michael would be actually just go up and peel off that red stone, and he actually doesn't want stones in play this end. He's up 4 points. He's playing the sixth end. The fewer rocks in play, the better. And he's made a mistake on his first one by putting it short. It might be worthwhile just going up and peeling his own rock right out of play.
Feldbach! Gut. Ab! Bin ich immer gut. Ja. Okay, ich hatte gut. Halb 4. Keep going. Curl.
They're going to have to stay on top of the ice. This is the time of the day where the ice gets a little tired, I'd say. The games have been close together. The ice maker try their best, but sometimes they don't have a lot of time to prepare the ice, and the heat in the building is developing through the day. So you really have to watch in these last few ends if there is a different amount of curl, and certainly if the speed changes.
It's been a fairly warm day outside in Baden today. It was 28, 29 degrees. So after 7 or 8 hours in the sun, even a well-insulated building will bring some heat in.
They brought that last stone deep to try and get it hidden behind cover, but because it's deep, there is room by the guard to make a play.
Out! Yes! Out! Yes! Hard. Whoa, vamos.
On sheet A, Team Retornaz has stolen 2 in the fifth end to take a 5-4 lead over Kapp from Germany. Team Chandler from Canada has scored 1 in the fifth end to try to climb within a point. They're down 4-3 to Høstmælingen of Switzerland. And Team Bryce and Edin still haven't posted their fifth end as yet. We'll bring you up to date when that one is posted.
So unfortunately for the Brunner team, the free guard zone rule came into play. There was lots of room to get by that guard. At this point in the game, you have to make sure that you have enough speed to get there, but that wasn't the case. The guard was ticked and taken out of play, so it comes back and the shooter comes off. Big change there.
Allen! Yep! Ja, fest! Fest. Okay.
So what can you do when it looks like the ice is changing? Well, you definitely have to talk more as a team. You can actually look at the other sheets of ice and maybe get some times off the other ice. You definitely can get times off the opponent's rocks that are going down the ice. You can walk beside stones and look and see where their break point is and see if that changes. This game is about totally adapting to the environment, and you have to be really on awareness and looking at what's happening around you as you play.
And if the ice is getting a little softer, you can add a little more rotation. If it's getting a little more swingy, you can add a little more rotation to delay that curl as long as possible.
Ja, gewoon een beetje länger, hoor. Vind ik.
We'll see if they can figure out wide on this sheet of ice what it's like.
Ja. T-line!
Ja.
Dat is knap. Nou,
Knap. Knap. Ja, ga niet.
This one's coming in sideways.
Wow, 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 wow. Dat is gewoon schwierig.
And they called T-line, and it really did have the weight pulled off it. So you're going to have to be adding this end.
Schwierig dan.
Hey, eher gerade. Ja. Whoa. Close. Whoa. Andy. Andy. Hard go. Hard. Right. Nice.
nou.
T-line ging 4.
Zo, hè.
Is het niet goed?
Ja.
Is het niet goed?
Mark's trying to use the side of the sheet that has the yellow guard. So you could draw in the other way as well. Pfister with the hammer playing 6 but down 4.
I always thought it was like 9.5.
Ja, ja.
I was surprised when I heard it 10.5.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Achtung, wow. Yep, yep. Wow, wow. Allen.
Notice out of the corner of our eye that they're kicking the stones off over there on sheet 4 in the game between Bryce and Edin. So as Edin had last stone in that end, was already ahead, I'm guessing he got a few points. But we'll let you know, as like I said, as soon as they post the score, how many he did actually get. If I was a betting man, I'd say 3 or more.
Nice adjustment by the Pfister team to get a rock in there on that wide out turn.
Split time that you're seeing on the screen is the time it takes to go from hog line to hog line, which the players will chat about the whole game to see whether the ice is changing. And that seems to be pretty consistent with what it was earlier. Oh, it is slowing down quite a bit. Yeah. So that stone, that speed earlier might have gone to the T line. Now it's only going to the top 8 foot. So that's probably a whole second difference.
Der andere wäre hier, aber ist schon schwierig, oder?
Ja, wir können schon nochmal.
The stone traveled about 1.5, 1.75 meters per second. So
Muss lecken.
that's about how much short it is of being to the T line. So instead of 1442, they might be talking about 1340 to get to the T line. So that's information conveyed to each other before the throw.
Das gehört hier einfach. Das gehört fast gegen davon, da hier, weißt du? Wenn du da vorbeikommst, dann gehört da hier her.
Yeah, they're talking about how difficult this freeze would be because of the late curl, that it looks okay and then suddenly it will cross and go past the red stone. So they were also talking about playing the same shot they just played on the other side of the sheet.
Viel mehr
I know they're worried about that redstone that was just played being usable to be run in.
Wenn wir so umgehen, kann man ihn irgendwie haben.
Ja, das ist schon klar. Da ist noch nicht der Doktor.
Also ich sehe sonst nicht wirklich viel.
Okay, unfortunately, they haven't posted a number. They've, for the Edin Bryce game, they've just put X's up on the fifth end, which shows his final score of 3-2. So we know that that's not the case. So we're saying Edin probably was sitting 3, and he had 1 rock to come. And because they didn't finish the end, they put X's there, but they should really have just conceded to, I'm guessing, 3 or 4 that he had, and put that on the scoreboard. Because it looks pretty funny when it says the score was 3-2 and they quit after in the fifth end. So I'm guessing Edin was already sitting 3 or 4 before he threw his last rock, and the end was not completed. So let's say the score was 6 or 7-2. And Team Bryce conceded.
So they stuck with the same play on this sheet, playing the come around that Christian made successfully. Got the little rub,
Nice.
the little roll.
So that stone that I talked about earlier, that the lead threw short, that I thought they could have peeled off, seems to be the one causing the problems right now.
An attempted double run back here.
It's interesting how a stone early in the end that you think is harmless, you know, half an end later comes back to be a problem.
Go! Runner! Hold! Andy! Yes, Andy! High! High! High!
Yeah, very nicely played. It was a great view of the throw to see the little bit of inside-out action and then big rotation. And even with that, it seemed to curl a little bit. So nicely played. Didn't get shot rock, but the redstone is in a nice spot.
Nein, ich muss schon zuerst den treffen. Zuerst den und dann den unter. Aber dann stehen wir noch, gell? Aber wir müssen einfach mal wieder da mit dem Nachti vielleicht.
Yeah, the only way to get 2 right now is he's got to move that redstone and make some kind of a double to open up a spot for his last one. He's going to try and hit that front red one onto the one on the side of the button, get rid of both of them, and perhaps have a shooter roll against the other red one to sit third shot.
I think he was also looking at playing the double on the top too and trying to roll a shooter in potentially for third shot and open up the redstone.
People that have been watching that game have noted on the chat that in fact Edin got 5 in that end and they kicked the rocks off pretty quickly. So the scorers just put an X there. But in fact, he would at home score 5 for Edin in the 5th end. So final score 8-2.
Nein, zu knapp würde ich nicht. Wir müssen schon hier so treffen.
Okay.
Sonst machen wir den. Gut. Sachte. Ja. Ja.
So they've lined up the double or maybe triple on this one. You do need to try and keep the shooter as well.
Yep. I suspect this will have some steam behind it. He's almost taking no ice. He's expecting maybe 3 or 4 centimeters of curl, and that's all. Wow.
He hit the wrong one first. That was not the plan.
I think he got that one started from the delivery. It looked to me like he didn't slide that out toward the target. And in fact, he was quite a ways off target. He missed the spot he was trying to hit by almost a whole rock. And that's a lot for a player of these calibers.
We talked about the rotation and trying to set the stone and inside-out release. I think that was a bit of an outside-in release, so the opposite of what he wanted.
It's important for the person in the house to actually read the release, not just the stone coming at them, but they have to really watch the hand of the person throwing the stone to see if they can get an early idea, because the person in the house at that first yelled okay, which to me seems to indicate that it was on line coming out of the hack. But if you read the hand of the person throwing, you would have seen that they had started it in and would have got the brushing on much quicker. You'll see how Michael released that rock from the inside toward the outside of the target. So it's running much straighter.
Yep. Hi!
This may look like an easy double, but because they're not dead even with each other, the danger is that your shooter will hit the top rock first, which it has to, and then hit the other rock and spin forward. And that could leave the stone in the 8-foot still counting. So he wants to hit this one, the 2 rocks, almost simultaneously.
It is amazing how much spin you get off of this kind of situation.
Now there's a pretty precise point for this stone to be in to make this shot.
You can also adjust the weight a little bit so you don't get quite so much spin. Very nice.
So he actually hit the other rock first and then kicked the other rock over, which is the way to make it. Well, good shot.
But it is only a single point, and it is 7-4 for Brunner.
So they'll need a steal of 1 and a steal of 2 in either order, but they certainly need to get a steal to have any chance of winning this game.
Ender Englinie. Kom Chris. Gekust.
Alan's having a little bit of trouble finding the line and the rotation to get those stones on center. So that stone there is a hindrance. This might be one you want to try a tick shot to move both stones well out of play. You don't need to score any more points if you're Team Brunner. And drawing in behind it is only giving Team Pfister something to work with.
It really depends on your team. Sometimes people will play open with that shot, try to leave the center with only the opposition stones. So when it is an opportunity to peel later after the fifth rocks is played, then you can get them through the house without having any backing in the way.
Yeah. Now you could maybe play that out in the middle of the 8 foot or the edge of the 4 foot. Not too wide out, but you really don't want to be going around it because that's what Pfister's looking for. He's looking for rocks in the center that he can use. See the amount of finish there. That's probably lack of rotation that Alan's putting on his stones. So he's going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and try and add a little more rotation to his handle.
It is interesting to see the contrast because his counterpart on the Brunner team, Andreas, throws a lot of rotation and probably gets 2.5 feet to 3 feet less ice given to him for the shot.
And still with lots of finish at the end. And you know on the next one that Brunner's going to start peeling.
Vooracht.
Looking for a front 8 foot stone in behind cover in front of those red rocks. You really have to throw all caution to the wind and just get everything in play that you can if you're Pfister.
Vooracht lang. Länger. Länger. Okay, kom om.
It's also making it difficult for Mark to put the broom down in the right place when he's got his players throwing different rotations. That one worked out well though. He's actually shot rock at the back of the 4 foot.
So here comes the peel. The fact those two yellow stones were so close together up front made it very easy to remove them or move them around anyways and have the shooter roll as well.
Yeah, they're not of consequence where they are.
Huisklinie. Linie gut. Nimm zu viel, Chris.
2. Nur 2.
2 ist gut. Nur noch ein bisschen. Oh. Gut. Ja.
With the score the way it is and the way the rocks are positioned within the house, Michael doesn't really have to take any chances with these. He's just peeling them off.
Update on sheet 1. Kapp is not going to give in to Retornaz very easily. He came back with a 3-ender in the 6th end to take a 7-5 lead. And Chandler of Canada, playing Høstmælingen over on sheet 3, stole one in the sixth end, and he's tied that game up at 4. So Chandler, with I believe 3 players, is giving Høstmælingen all he can handle.
Linie! Ist gut, Cello. Ist gut. Gut, ja. Gut.
Cello is Marcel. Didn't have to do much brushing on that one. It was perfectly played.
Clean.
Nochmal green.
It's interesting looking at the scoreboard when you think about how Brunner has scored. The 4 in the first end were scored because Mark Pfister's team left a lot of rocks around and there was a chance for a big end. In the 5th end, my comment was that Mark Pfister got away from what was being successful in the 3rd and 4th ends with the steal, and he tried to hit his way out of trouble and missed. So 2 rather contrasting ways that Brunner has scored, but they do loom very large on the scoreboard.
Brunner doesn't have to score multiple points, and he knows a 1. He could even afford to give up a steal and still have a comfortable lead coming home, but a score on 1 would end the game.
Good.
Nützt nicht viel, da kann er drauf lassen, oder? Ich würde ihn hier nehmen, so.
Tony looked behind him after he threw that stone like he'd slid over something funny. But might have felt on his slider, but it didn't impact the stone.
Ganz Centerline schon.
Kommt er plötzlich von aussen da, gell, mit dem Waldhändler. Er muss schon ein bisschen drüber.
It is the time of the game you have to be careful. I know in front of the hack it often feels like when you're moving a rock around, if the ice has gotten a little bit sticky, I guess I'll call it. It feels like something is underneath the stone, but usually it's okay. But you do have to be careful because debris can gather, and if you're not really careful cleaning, there can be a problem with the stone. It's all the details that make these teams the top teams. They don't leave anything to chance. They make sure that every aspect of their job is taken care of.
Collectie. Oh, super. Opblijven. 2. Ja. Hij kan er veel. Oh. Okay, goed.
There's so much sideways movement at the end, it's really difficult to put guards in the right place, but Team Pfister's been doing a great job of that this end. Brunner could probably come around that center guard and tap the yellow one back. He only has to tap it back maybe 3 or 4 centimeters to be sitting 2. But he's going to take the conservative play and just...
I was wondering if maybe the bait had been thrown out by Pfister to not perfectly guard it, to see if he would go after it, because that would be a chance of a mistake happening.
Yep.
But the bait was not taken, it's just a peel.
Genau gleich oder ein bisschen länger?
Ah, ich finde gleich.
Genau gleich.
It isn't looking like an opportunity to steal 2, so they're going to put a guard up. They're looking, trying to steal 1 here, and then they'll have to try and steal 2 coming home if they're successful. So Michael will have a shot to draw the button on his last one to end the game.
Mark had looked at Christian and said, do you want the same, or do you want to position it slightly differently as far as length goes? And they decided on the same.
Karla. Oké, dat is goed.
Achtung, Chandler!
Ja, dat knoek. Ja, dat knoek.
See how much sideways movement there is right at the end.
Yep.
So a very nice choice by Pfister's team to put guards in position and guard that rock. The yellow one was actually not intended to be there. Remember, it was supposed to be front 8 foot and maybe play a freeze and maybe set something up for later. And it very trickily went in behind and sat for shots. So nice guards and a rock in position to potentially steal for Pfister.
I don't remember the last time Michael actually threw a draw, so this is where communication from the teammates about what this path of ice is like is really important.
He did play a couple in the 5th end, but the last one was a wide open draw, so it was quite simple. This is a very precise draw.
50. 3-0. Yep.
Trying to get it to curl. It's got lots of weight. Very nice.
And he actually, I think he scored 2. And that'll be the game. Handshakes all around. And that moves Brunner to 2-1, which is getting closer to securing a playoff berth. And unfortunately for Team Pfister, they dropped to 0-3. And that will, although they have 1 game left to play, will eliminate them from getting into the playoffs in this tournament.
8 teams out of 20 do make the playoffs, and that's going to be interesting heading into play on Saturday as to what happens in pool play.
Teams who win all their games will, of course, make it through. Teams who win 3 out of 4 will probably all make it through, and there may be a couple of teams at 2-2, depending on their draw shot challenge total, may sneak into the playoffs as well. But teams with less than 2 wins will not advance. So both teams now have to throw the draw shot challenge for their next game. So that's what they're doing right now, is they're throwing the draw shot challenge for their next game to determine 2 things: who will have last rock in that game, and also to add to their total, hopefully very little, of their total draw shot accumulation. So we think about 13.5 will be about the right speed here.
Early.
These are important draws, so it's really critical you stay focused on where to put the broom, what path you want to throw on. I mean, even if it overcurls a little bit but gets near the button, it's better than dropping short.
This one's well short. So that's 0. That will not help his draw shot chances. Should he end up being 2-2 and one of the teams looking to get into the playoffs. That's going to be a big fat 199 centimeters, which is what you get if you miss the house.
Ja. Dat is goed.
And although this won't matter to Mark Pfister's team with respect to the overall draw shot challenge, this could win them last rock in the first end of the next game.
It's also a skill that's used in every competition, so it's really important to be able to refocus after a loss like this and still play a good draw.
12.43 should be a little bit heavy, maybe back 8 foot. It's really slowing down quite a bit. So yeah, he was about a second heavier than he should have been. That's about the distance a stone goes in 1 second. But the distance from the T-line to the center of that rock is about how far a rock will travel in 1 second.
So that's it for the game. Michael Brunner beating Mark Pfister 9-4.
So goodbye from us. Everybody get a good night's sleep because we have lots more curling on tomorrow. And also we'll get the playoffs started tomorrow as well. A couple more draws of the round robin, and then playoffs, quarterfinal action will come your way later on tomorrow afternoon. Just to give you a final update of what I have.